I would suggest to rewrite this part from here. Instead of a 4/4 with triplets, you write it as 12/8, okay? And then your tempo can be just 8 equals 8. Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Harmonic TV. Today I'm going to review another piece from the subreddit composers, and well, let's go. So today we have two pieces. The first one is from Ethan Perez. It's called Nocturne on the Lunar Eclipse. So let's play and see where we go. All right, super nice. Love it. Super nice. And I also really like the combination of the instruments. Yeah, the sounds, the MIDI sounds are really not doing any justice to your score. But actually, I like it because this kind of sounds really reminds me of like Final Fantasy, or like the old type of games. I mean, not that Final Fantasy is new, but you know what I mean. So yeah, let's see. Let's go. All right. So from the beginning, my suggestions is that first of all, if you have a title, it should be always written in one line. So you should write your title only here and not on the second line, okay? Because this is just a typical thing that you write on the first line. If you give it to someone on the first line, me also, when I saw it, I thought, okay, there's going to be something else. Like your expectation is that you're going to see some other indication, like a dedication, a performance, or something like that, So always keep it in one line, and also, like for all of you guys, you can go crazy with your with the fonts and stuff. You can make it as cool as you want. So be creative also with the titles, because it's inspiring. I think it's really inspiring to do that. And after you've done this one, make sure that your movement names, for example, this is the movement, always write it on top of your movement, okay? And it would be nice if you put a 1 also, because it would help with your musicians, okay? So you write 1 and then the eclipse here, okay? And because later when they're rehearsing, for example, it's easier to say which movement number 2, movement number 3, blah, blah, okay? Then, as usual, what I say, I love that you wrote enchanting here. I love it. But make sure to actually write a tempo, like the old school type, the traditional type, andante, allegro, stuff like that. And then the tempo, okay? And then you can write the enchanting, okay, which is really nice. But then, speaking about indications, it would be nice also to write expression markings in front of all of your dynamics, or if it needs to change, okay, because it's inspiring for your musicians, because for them, the more information you give with these things, the more you help them, and also the more you inspire them, because put yourself in their shoe. And this would really help them. For example, you write dolce, or you write exciting, or anything that you want. You can also just Google and find the appropriate term that you have in mind, because sometimes the Italian ones don't come into your mind, or you just want to write it in English. It doesn't really matter. Okay. And now let's move on to other stuff. A big thing that I would highly suggest, I mean, we're going to go ahead more, and that you can work on in your pieces, is that try to get rid of the thought of having bar lines, okay? Sometimes it's nice, okay? Sometimes it's nice to have bar lines because it's, you have strict rhythm, but don't let bar lines dictate your composition and your composition style, okay? This is very important. Now, look what I mean by bar lines. For example, you start here at the beginning of, like on the downbeat, okay? Everything you have, you are starting on your downbeat. If you move on ahead, all the stuff are beginning, like the most like the juice of your music is starting in the downbeats, and also it has a 4 or a binary term in them, okay? For example, look at here, or look at here, okay? So try to imagine the bar line not being there. Now, you might say how. For example, you are writing, this is your melody, and you have a counterpoint here, okay? Now imagine, if you want your counterpoint to be heard even more, you can create a little bit of overlap with them. So for example, this F that you have here, it can be, actually, is it transposed, or let's see, E flat, B flat. Okay, no, I think it's correct then. So it's in C, I'm assuming, because it would make sense. It's like a fifth here. Let's see. Here you have, or maybe I'm making a mistake. I mean, never mind. It doesn't really matter now because we're not talking about that. Look at here. This F, imagine if this G would have been an F here, and then it would go to G. Okay, then you would have a beautiful counterpoint here with these two, because this sound comes with this G, this C with this G, and then this one goes to the G. Okay, and this is what I mean with forget about having the bar lines, because bar lines, somehow when you use bar lines, they dictate. For example, this E also, you put this E here because okay, I want my harmony to be a certain thing here, but then if the bar line wasn't here, maybe you would have put it here, or maybe you put it with like a dot here, and then it would be an eighth note here. Okay, so always keep this in mind to explore your creativity without having the bar lines in mind. Okay, now let's go a little bit more. So every now and then I see, and I love that you have this kind of textures that they kind of imitate each other. Now, would be really interesting to every now and then to overlap the imitation. So if this is going down here and going down, right? Imagine if these notes, actually these notes were also here too. So they would be like this, okay? And then they would overlap to the exact same pitches is here, and then this one grows out from this sound. Okay, so then they wouldn't be strict, they would be like really floating into each other, and then you will have a more sound, you will have a sound that is more blended together, like molted together. So try to do this more often in your scores, and then you will really benefit from the sound that it has. All right, now I'm gonna go a bit down. Okay, and remember when I said about the expressions and stuff, this would really help. For example, when you go to a forte here, you can write an expression here that that you want it to sound like that. So for example, even the vibrato, because wind players can give a lot of cool vibrato, or if you want non-vibrato, because if you don't write the amount of vibrato, they just do whatever they want. But we don't want that. We're composers, and we want them to do what we want. Okay. And another thing here also is with the notation. I would suggest, if you are, you see here you have this trill line, that you have the wiggly line here. If it was me, I would also use it, because also it helps with the eye, and it looks really, like a family, So this really doesn't look separated than this trill. Okay, it's just easier for the eye, and you want to make your score as beautiful as it can get. Okay, and now let's go. Oh yeah, this is the part that, for example, you can do with the bassoon, for example, that it grows also with this guy, or many other parts. Just check it out yourself, and then you find a lot of spots that you have this kind of textures that you can do similar. Okay. Let's go down. Oh yeah, I see you have an expressive here. But then it would be nice if you write it in Italian, for example, espressivo, or espress dot. Okay, and sometimes you have this more air than pitch. Okay, if you are, what I have in mind always is that if you are using some extended techniques, because this goes to the category of extended techniques, because this is traditional, like everything else. If you are bringing in extended techniques, use it more, For example, this can continue with more air than pitch, and then there's a combination with this melody, and then they are playing together a bit more, and then for example, it ends up on on fully air, you know, like stuff like that. Okay, so keep it in mind, because it's a pity if you have like a sweet texture like this and if you just let it go, because if it's in a moment, honestly, no one's going to remember it. You know, if you have a magic but it's in a moment, no one's going to remember it. So make sure to repeat stuff, okay, and build over them. Okay, now let's go down. In general, like I really love the way you compose, but just one thing that you can improve on, what I suggest is that at some point have another movement, okay, that is less dense, okay? And imagine an action movie, or if you're watching anime, I don't know if you watch anime, do let me know actually in the comments, because I'm curious everybody is doing, or if you guys are watching also anime and stuff. Yeah, so if you are having everything in a full density, then it's like your action movie or your anime happening all the time. It's like a fight scene, you know. There is no talk about their life, a backstory, a more sense of relief. Okay, now imagine how hard would be for the audience if it's just continuously action, you know. So sometimes just a simple melody, imagine just like this, I'm just giving an example, okay, or just some lush and slow movement with just some you know, sounds going up and down from each other, you know. No more strict rhythms, you know, some more blending of a sound, some beautiful melodies that you already have, which I know you can do, but then you can work on it a little bit more. Well, what's this down here? I'm gonna close it. I found something that I would tell you. This is confusing for your players, okay? Because this is for me, for example, I'm like, is this for just the piccolo or is it for everybody? Okay. If it's for everybody, what does it mean? Like, is it slower? Is it softer? Or what does it mean? Because you have the forte here also, okay? So this is a bit contradictory to your less energetic, but then it can be, for example, pesante, which it means, whoa, it got stuck. Ooh, wee, okay. Delete, okay. So yeah, pesante, for example, which means to play heavy. Maybe this is what you mean, but then this is a bit contradictory. So make sure to change it. And if you mean as in a way to like meno mosso or less movement, then always when the tempo changes, use double bar here. Always, 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 because it's nice for your musicians to know, and it helps them to understand, oh, we're now moving to another part, another feeling of music. And yeah, that was it for you, Ethan. I hope that you enjoyed the review, and also yeah, let me know in the comment section what you think, and I hope that you enjoyed the video so far. And now we're gonna move on to our next piece. Let's go. All right, so now we are in our second piece for today. It's called Tactile Breath for well, from Arvid Olsen, and he specifically told me to show you guys his website also. This is his website, and check his website out. It looks really cool with a nice picture. And now let's see what's happening in his music. It already looks really cool. Let's go. Oh, by the way, guys, if you want me to review your pieces faster, do consider becoming a member to the channel, because there's like a big pileup, and I cannot do all of them in a day or a week or something. So I'm trying to do one or two pieces a week, and some of you are sending your pieces now. And yeah, it might take even 2 months. So, but if you want to support me and the channel by becoming a member, I will definitely do it within 2 or 3 days. And yeah, but let's go. Well done. Woo. All right. Pooh. It was like going crazy with the claps here and then with the clipping. Well done, my man. Super nice, and I really loved it. And yeah, I really sound like a cooked piece, and I personally quite like how you know, extended techniques and textures, because I really like textury music, and I really like how you employed all of them in a small piece. And yeah, well done, beautiful, beautiful. Okay, so it would be nice if you write, for example, the instrumentation here, also the duration, because then it will give like a super nice overview of your piece, okay? And also it can be nice, the date of the composition or the date of the premiere and stuff like that. And in general, for you guys to know, if you are publishing some things, make sure to learn how to employ white pages in your scores. And why do I say employ? Because, for example, if you print this already right now, this is going to be the first side of one page, and this is going to be the other one, okay? But usually it would be nice to have an empty page after your first title, so an empty page already after this page that is already there. So when you flip it, then it's like a book. You flip it, and then you get to this beautiful page that you have with all the information, okay? Now that we talked about that, let's talk about, whoa, this pen is not doing good today. All right, now it's good. Let's talk about some stuff here. So the full score here is not necessary, okay? This is beautiful. And if you write here just performing notes, it's already clear for everybody, okay? So you don't really need to write like instructions for, but this is nice, for example, that you have for the information on the other parts respectfully, okay? But it's nice to have a performing notes up here, and make sure to really fit them in the middle, okay? And now I know I'm nitpicking, but if you already watch my other stuff too, you know that I'm already like this for myself too. And it takes a bit of time to do this stuff, but it works, okay? So if you make it like this, like a frame in the middle, it would be really nice. And if stuff are already there, now you have a dotted hairpin indicates a slow and gradual release of the sustain pedal. We already have a release pedal thing, so it's like something like this, that it goes up. So you have the pedal down, and then it goes up. And that's like the official one, because this might be a bit confusing even if you write it, and it might not give a good impression to your pianist, you know, because you want to say, hey man, I'm the boss and I know the best. So, and this is already nice to do it like this. Usually for me, I write N, because then there is no mistake, because sometimes in some prints, if it's small, they don't realize this, like the zero, you know, the little circle as a niente, okay? And this one, for me, it was not super clear as to how to perform it. I suggest to write it, to add actually a picture, like a graphic, you know, or it can be a picture, or it can be a drawing of how your fingers, well, my drawing is not really the best. Whoa, this is really bad, man. Oof. On the piano, you know, so exactly, or like a nail, you know, like how it should be on the piano, because then it would be a greater indication of what you exactly want it to be, because a text might be a bit vague for your pianist and other people, okay? These are super nice. Now let's go. So, for example, this is the stuff that I also said in the beginning of the video. It would be nice if you put this one, the name of your title, the name of your movement in the beginning, okay? So you write it here, the metaphor, and then a tempo marking, allegro, whatever you want, and then tempo equals 130, and the rest are just super nice, well done. And also for maybe for you guys that are not watching, a piano is always, when you have multiple instruments, like what Arvid did here, piano would be nice to have an extra tempo here, because they look here and they're playing their part, so it's nice to have a tempo marking here as well, which he did already. And I would suggest that this is not really necessary because this is mostly used with very big scores, and the parts that are, for example, if you have a full score and then at some point in an orchestra score or something, some stuff are omitted, like some staffs, but then you put this to say, hey, the next system that is coming is like a little bit less, you know, or it's like a group that you know, okay, this system is separated from the other system. But this is already clear, and this area here can be utilized. So for example, this can be a bit stretched more, or maybe a bigger font to, you know, to utilize your space a little bit better, okay? And the other thing is that always would be inspiring to add double bar line when your tempo changes in a substantial way. So if this was something and then it goes to molto ritenuto, you want to say, hey, now we're gonna go back to whatever we were before. And if your tempo is exactly the same, just write a tempo, okay? And then the musicians would know, hey, we're the same tempo as we were before. Then they don't need to calculate anything, okay? Super nice here. And this is also something what I also discussed in the first part. You have a super crazy imagination, and I love it. Believe me, I'm not just saying it for the sake of the video. It's amazing. But what I want you to do is that get rid of the bar lines, man. Like, forget about the bar lines. Like, look how you how the possibilities are endless if you don't have bar lines. For example, these textures, then you might think, hey, I can grow this texture from a lower note, from actually this piano, growing this texture to the cello, and then it grows up. But because of this bar line here, because of perhaps the piano chord, you think that, oh, your mind automatically, because we work also visually, you think that this is great. So, and it is great. Don't mistake this. But then it would be even better if it would grow, and then this bar line is, if you take it away, then it will help you to realize, oh, this can sound great. Or, for example, this can sound great if, for example, comes from pianissimo or pianissimo to grow up and then create this beautiful texture that you have here, all right? And these are super nice, the glissandos that you did, that you have. I'm assuming these are like string numbers, all right? And let's go a bit more. I wanted to tell you guys something. Yeah. Oh yeah, so in general, all of you, whenever you want to write glissando, that it just goes infinitely up, the ending is definitely correct, and this is how it should be done, like the arrow, because it means the higher that they can do, the highest that they can do. But I would suggest, if you are doing something like this, that you want that the notes in between are doesn't really matter, then write them in a parenthesis. Okay, I'm going to write it here. Okay, let parenthesis with the note stem, but not the note head. So it's missing. Okay, so then they know that this is not important. Then they like this. Then they know that the note that they're going, it's not important. Otherwise, they might think, if we're going up, hey, should I accent this D or should I accent that note? You know? So if you do this, then they know, oh, it doesn't really matter. You just, you know, you just go, you. So there is no accent in the between. So it just goes on and on and on. And another victim of the bar lines, my friend, look at this this guy here. Imagine if this could have been super chill and just coming and finishing here, you know? Just very gradual compared to the bar line, okay? Now let's go down a bit. Yeah, these are lovely. Oh yeah, just something that I wanted to tell you, that I would suggest to rewrite this part from here. Instead of a 4/4 with triplets, you write it as 12/8. okay? And then your tempo can be just 8 equals 8, okay? Then just 12, 8 here, and then write 8 equals 8. Then you will get rid of all these triplets, you know, then you don't really need them because everything is triplety, right? And the score will look more clean and less cluttered, and it's also easier to read for them, because if you put triplets, they're gonna double calculate. Like this is a triplet, and then there's a triplet inside of it, so it's like double calculation, okay? And just the last thing I wanted to tell you is that I really miss this texture that you have in the end. Like, let me find it. Oh yeah, here. From here, your subtlety. I really miss this. I mean, not for this piece. This piece is finished, but I mean, you can also revise it if you want. But I would have loved to hear a bit of this, you know, a bit of this texture in the beginning. Like even for example, the glisses that you have, I would have loved to hear in the beginning a bit, you know, like introduction. And then it ends on the same stuff as was in the beginning, you know, because there's a little time. I'm assuming this was a commission, so you had like 5-6 minutes to finish this piece. But then maybe 30 seconds more, 40 seconds more, it would have add more depth to your piece, with starting from something soft that would also go back to the softness. And for your audience, it will also give you a relief, because you would have a beginning and end that is the same, but then in the middle there's a world of stuff that are happening. And yeah, that was it, my friend. I really hope that you enjoyed this review. And if you did, yeah, do leave a comment and just let me know what you think about my review. And also, if you have any friends or anybody who wants me to review their pieces, please don't forget to send them to me. And yeah, everyone, I hope that you enjoyed this video. And till later, Homayun out.